Hey everyone. I wanted to talk to you about the NAS Killer 4.1 supplemental. So as you might notice, this is not a major release. This is just a little add-on to the NAS Killer 4.0. We're using the same socket and same CPU set, same RAM, but the reason I'm calling it the 4.1 is there are some good deals to be had through these combos. And it looks like that these are all available through the same seller. It's Aceso Inc. And I've bought from them before. I haven't had any problems, and they have very good feedback on eBay. As you can see, they have 99.5% feedback with almost 30,000 reviews, and that's just people that have reviewed it. So I had a really good experience with them. Bought from them quite a few times. Um, they have some cool servers, and what they are, before I get too deep into this, it's based on the Hive Cygnus, and they're a 1U server. It's pretty much a full length, it's a standard 19-inch chassis. Um, they are pretty loud because they are 1U, but they hold 12 drives, which you don't really see too often in 1Us because usually they're short 1Us. But you can see here, there's 3 rows of 4, so you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then same there and same there. And they're already pre-wired, so you can actually use the chassis if you want, but I probably wouldn't recommend it unless you're going to shove it in a data center somewhere, or if your rack is in a location where you really don't care about noise. Um, Maybe those are a good, good reason or good situation to use this, just as it is. But it's got a Tyan motherboard. I haven't done a whole lot with Tyan motherboards, but they're kind of like the, um, I don't know, kind of like a scuffed Supermicro. Like they're all right, they're pretty good. There's just not a whole lot of documentation. They don't really produce as many products as Supermicro does, so you don't see them as often. But sometimes you get deals like this, and it's kind of hard to pass up. So this Tyan board actually has built-in SAS. It also has SATA 3, so that's pretty nice. So you do get the SAS 2008 controller, LSI SAS 2. You can flash it to IT mode. They might already be flashed to IT mode, I'm not sure. But it's probably better to just update it anyway. So like I said, it's just a 1U. I don't think there's a riser or anything like that, so if you want to use that, you're out of luck. But kind of the point is, it's a really good deal even if you're not going to use the case, because a motherboard, um, and a CPU and RAM for 135 bucks with free shipping or best offer. That's the introductory sort of offering, or let's just say model, that they have. So it's not like a crazy specification or something. It's decent. Um, but I have it here listed in this. So that's combo one. They're asking 135, and doing the math and adding up all the parts separately, you're looking at about $167 worth of stuff. Um, Now, not a huge savings, $32, but if you can put in an offer, if you hit make offer, who knows? I don't know if they would go down to 110. I haven't actually tried this myself, but usually reputable sellers will give you a good bit off. Some of the smaller ones like to use the or best offer as like a they use it as like an advertising thing where like they'll give you $2 off or something. And if you see an or best offer listing, you're like more likely to click on it. But from my experience with the seller, I don't think you'll have any problem making like a reasonable offer with them. And you can go back and forth with them. So maybe you lowball at 110, they come back at like 120, and you meet somewhere in like 115. Again, it's just an example. I'm not guaranteeing those prices. Even at 135, it's still a good deal. I mean, it's a pretty heavy chassis, and it does come with a power supply too. So it's pretty much ready to rock as it is. But I mean, it's heavy and it's going to be expensive to ship, but they're offering free shipping, so that's very cool. Um, Anyway, it seems like they have a lot of these on hand, and I know that one of the complaints I get a lot about the guides is that parts go out of stock, and kind of like, what do you do, or what's the next thing? Um, it seems like there's a lot of these in stock, and we'll show you that as I move through the models here. So anyway, that's combo one. You get a quad core E3 1220, 8 gig of RAM. Combo two, same processor, 16 gig of RAM. Combo three, same processor, 32 gig of RAM. So the first three are pretty much the same. And like I said, motherboard is micro ATX. It's a Taiwan motherboard. Normal price, it's about 45 for the board. No, I'm sorry, it's not micro ATX. I said this before. It's ATX. I messed that up in one of my posts. I corrected it. It's actually ATX. So you get 2 SATA 3, 4 SATA 2, LSI SAS on board via SATA ports, so you don't have to use expensive SAS cables. You can just use regular SATA cables if you're using SATA drives. If you're using SAS drives, you would have to switch to a different type of cable. Not that huge of a deal, but it is kind of nice to have the physical SATA ports on board. It's got 4 PCI Express, 1 PCI, dual NIC, IPMI. I don't know how good their IPMI is, so that's something to look at. I wouldn't really count on it, but 2 NIC is nice. E3 1220 v1. It's like an i5, basically. It has AES-NI, so if you want to use this for encryption for pfSense or something like that, you can do that. It's a little over 6,000 pass mark, so not great, but not awful either. You're looking at, basically, it's faster than a NAS Killer v1, like a top-of-the-line NAS Killer v1. But again, for the price, it's pretty dang good. And you can always upgrade this to a, like an E3 1270 v2 or something like that with, around 10,000 pass mark. And then get the RAM, and like I said, the chassis. So all in all, it's a pretty good deal, and I like this combo here, combo 4, which has an E3 1230 v2, 16 gig of RAM, and I think it's a little bit more expensive. You're looking at $193. It's still under $200, but you go right from 6,250 pass mark. Let's see, make this a little bigger for you. 6,250 pass mark, you go to 8,868. So that's a huge jump. That's like it's a little over 25%, so maybe like 30% increase. So that's very cool. Again, same motherboard, everything like that. The only thing that's different is the processor. 16 gig of RAM is plenty for most NAS systems, and you can always add 16 gig more if you really want to max it out. Might just have some notes in here about the case and the parts. There's an option to buy just the motherboard from the seller if you want. So that's pretty cool, having the motherboard with the onboard LSI. You can pick your own processor, you pick your own RAM, things like that. It's 45. I don't think that there's an offer on that. Oh no, it is 45 or best offer with free shipping. So maybe you can get this for $35 or $30. That would be really, really sweet. I mean, the onboard SAS controller alone, here's the SAS controller, that costs probably at minimum $20 to $25. You're looking realistically to like $40. So having that on board is very cool. It doesn't take up a PCI Express slot. It's positioned in a location that's usable, and it doesn't cost anything extra because this thing is only 45 with best offer. And just down below that, I have some sample builds, and these are pretty much what I just used parts from the original NAS Killer 4.0 guide, which is here. Again, same socket and everything like that. It's an ATX motherboard, so you can just fill in everything through there. And looking at this, here's the Cooler Master Elite 350, which is something I recommended very highly in the original guide. And so we'll go down to the sample builds here. And it's a little bit more expensive than the feature build here, but you do get ECC RAM, which is valuable to some people. You do get the SAS controller on board, which is nice. This one doesn't have a SAS controller, so it's a little bit more expensive, but it's also a little bit more convenient. And you're going for a Xeon instead of a i5. Just something to think about. And then I have a rack mount combo here, which is basically the same as the. When I scroll down into the NAS Killer 4, the ultimate rack mount build. It's not quite ultimate in this one because we're using combo number 4, which isn't a 1270, it's a 1230 V2, only 16 gig of RAM instead of 32. So you're looking at $373 before you make any offers on anything, and I mean it's a little bit less than 610. So just something to think about, and hopefully that adds some more options to the NAS Killer 4. I know a few people have bought these and they're just starting to get them back in now, so hopefully people will start posting about them. But if you're interested in NAS Killer 4, this is just another option for you. Nothing too serious in this video, but just wanted to kind of throw it out there and let you know about it. So I will link this in the description of this video below. You can always go to the forums. I will eventually have these on the website. I know it's taking me forever to get everything on the website, but I will have all of these in the description of this, and you can just go in the forums and find them yourself too that way if you'd rather. So if you have any questions, give me a shout out. I'll do my best to get back to you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for stopping by.